Harper One and HarperAudio present English Literature in the 16th Century, Excluding Drama, by C.S. Lewis. Read by John Lee. A note before we begin. For a chronological table of texts and a bibliography, don't forget to download the accompanying enhancement PDF from your audiobook provider, or go directly to harpercollins.com/pages/English Literature in the 16th Century. Preface. When I began this book, I had the idea, perhaps most literary historians have, of giving each author space in proportion to the value I set on him. But I found it would not do. Things need to be treated at length, not insofar as they are great, but insofar as they are complicated. Good books, which are remote from modern sympathy, need to be treated at greater length than good books which everyone already knows and loves. Bad books may be of importance for the history of taste, and if they are passed over too briefly, the student's picture of a period may be distorted. Finally, if I had worked strictly to scale, I should have been forced either to leave out many minor authors altogether, as roads and small rivers could not be made visible in maps unless their width were exaggerated, or else to say more on some great authors, not because more needed to be said, but for the sake of proportion. Where I have quoted from Neo-Latin authors, I have tried to translate them into 16th century English, not simply for the fun of it, but to guard the reader from a false impression he might otherwise receive. When passages from Calvin, Scaliger, or Erasmus, in modern English, jostle passages from vernacular writers with all the flavour of their period about them, it is fatally easy to get the feeling that the Latinists are somehow more enlightened, less remote, less limited by their age than those who wrote English. It seemed worth some pains to try to remove so serious and so latent a misconception. As I write French, not Français, I have also written Scotch, not Scottish, aware that these great nations do not so call themselves, but claiming the freedom of ma haine vulgaire. It is the rule of this series that the titles of books, with certain exceptions, should be modernized in the text but given exactly in the bibliography. I have to thank the Master and Fellows of Trinity College, Cambridge, for allowing me to use this book in an embryonic state as the Clark Lectures, 1944. Professor F.P. Wilson for such painstaking and skilled help as few authors have ever had from their friends. Mr. Dowling for much help with my bibliography, and Professor Douglas Bush for submitting to certain petty pilferings from his. Mr. R. E. Alton for guidance through the labyrinth of our faculty library. Dr. J. A. W. Bennett and Mr. H. V. D. Dyson for advice and criticism, and Miss Joy Davidman for help with the proofs. C.S.L. Magdalen College, Oxford, 7th October 1953. Introduction. New Learning and New Ignorance. The rough outline of our literary history in the 16th century is not very difficult to grasp. At the beginning, we find a literature still medieval in form and spirit. In Scotland, it shows the highest level of technical brilliance. In England, it has for many years been dull, feeble, and incompetent. As the century proceeds, new influences arise. Changes in our knowledge of antiquity, new poetry from Italy and France, new theology, new movements in philosophy or science. As these increase, though not necessarily because of them, the Scotch literature is almost completely destroyed. In England, the characteristic disease of late medieval poetry, its metrical disorder, is healed, but replaced for the most part by a lifeless and laboured regularity to which some ears might prefer the vagaries of Lydgate. There is hardly any sign of a new inspiration.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?